Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, or your regional equivalent. Today I've got a bit of, uh, I've got this thing to deal with. It's sent in by Jonis. He sent me an email and said, "Hey, this is a challenge of sorts. Build a ship of any of any like PowerPoint cost of any size, and try and beat this thing," is what he said. I can't use any I can't use modded blocks. I can only use vanilla. So, no Laporians, sadly. That also means no goal. Honestly, I'd love to beat this thing with goal. In fact, I might just do it anyway because go away limitations. Shouldn't be. It's 32, 31, 33, and that's 40. Oh gosh, I've now forgotten which number the goal was. Give me a few. It was 30. It was literally just okay. It was just 30. Yeah, seems fair, doesn't it? Good afternoon. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, so apparently Jonas wants me to. Uh, yeah, fair enough. This seems like a completely vanilla faction, doesn't it? I think I should use this. It's obviously just the Terrans, but ever so slightly bigger. I don't know about you, but I think it might be incredibly fun to see what this giant Terran faction could do. I mean, it wouldn't at all be unnecessary nor unfair to incorporate certain painless elements from other, factions and maybe, bring them to bear in an incredibly beautiful way. I mean, there are certain elements that could be very entertaining. Not to mention devastating, and dare I even say, fundamentally change the dynamic of the craft that I'm building. Because if I fundamentally shift it from that of a Favuvi to that of a Kunkuki, we could in fact have great swimbobulation and annihilate everything, which you'd be surprised can be quite fun. However, if I do manage to find a weapon that is of spindarchic inheritance to be able to combatitalize and efficientize my systems of authority, then I would unfortunately be at a complete loss of what to spedivulate after that. You see, there's only so many weapons you can take and put on a giant craft before it begins to become a gunship. And I don't necessarily want a gunship, so as I want an everything ship. You see, completely normal Terran faction. It's just of a slightly different color. Nothing wrong there. Absolutely everything is completely fine. Don't question it. Don't even worry about it. I'm sure it'll all be completely fine, and nothing will go exploding. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't even know why you'd think that. Personally, I wouldn't be able to understand how such pathetic Terran weaponry could ever truly stand a chance against such a mighty Sentinel vessel. In fact, I'd almost be intrigued to see how Crystalline could do. Where are Crystalline? I can't remember their palette designation. It might be 9. No, there is no 9. 8 is Terran. 7 is B. Borg, normal plants, and it's 11, isn't it? It is 11. I was right. That's surprising. So I doubted myself, even though I knew exactly what was going on all the time. Ooh, what's this? Oh, I thought I saw something new here. Oh well. Wait, what? A root. Why is there a root? Do I have a mod that allows these things to have roots? Why are there? Why is this? Has this always been this shape? It's been a long time since I've built with crystalline, but I'm pretty sure they never had. It's always. You know what? Fair enough. I must be losing my mind. Which, honestly, isn't necessarily too bad. Let's also take these bees. I'm sure the bees would be highly entertaining, I should say. Some days, I wonder, should I have bees mixed with Terran or Terran mixed with bees? Because Either way, it just sounds like an incredibly destructive and toxic concoction that, in all honesty, probably isn't fair to neither Terrans nor bees. It could be hours, it could be minutes, it could be however long it takes me to get bored or annoyed, or neither. Yeah, it could even take me as long as it takes me, because that is just the time it could take. I personally don't know. I haven't obviously seen this video yet, and I never will. Well, actually, I will, but I won't. But I will, but I won't, because I'll see it in post-production. But I will probably not see it, because I'll be glancing over it too quickly due to all the explosions. Now, speaking of explosions, we do have a large barrage-terrarium of thermonucleic weaponomic technicorities, as the LSN might declare it, or should we say a kinetic blast apparati. Something you need to keep in mind is that these are thermonucleic weapons, not thermotonaic weapons, and definitely not thermochleic vapid weapons. Something of liberal use within the Star-Glow Galactic Purificative, something we can talk about later, but for now is not necessarily entirely pertinent to our current journey. One we should really focus on is how many layers of crystal should we put on this ship. I agree. It's not necessarily the most redundantly unredundant question, but it's an incredibly redundant question. It's redundancy. Would it actually be? No, I don't think so. In fact, that's the sort of self-recursive logic that got our civilization to the point it isn't at. Which basically means, yes, I'm dissing our entire civilization for not asking silly questions, or more correctly, for asking them and never actually getting smart answers. Because smart answers were not something they wanted when they asked for silly questions. Because the silly questions were made because they didn't have silly answers. Or more correctly, because they didn't have smart answers for their silly questions. Have I lost any of you? No? Excellent. Perfect. And then we can hopefully proceed with this lecture. Do note that storage pods are much less effective than Penrose, because Penrose are less effective than storage pod. Thusly, we take the storage pod, or we take both, or we take neither, or we combine them in a beautiful mosaic of destruction and clarity, which will unfortunately perseverate the entire universe. AKA, blue and red and orange go nicely together, especially green and white and black and grey. Do not forget colours of coordination when assimilating your colours, otherwise you might suffer from invariable headaches, as such that I am causing right now, to myself, due to my incredible lack of any breathing while I am speaking. Good, excellent. Do note that when you are breathing, breathe properly. Do not breathe insanely, and do not breathe in carbonucleic acid. Also, do not breathe in nuclear fluorocarbon, otherwise known as neuranic coolant, the fuel of LSN starships. All LSN starships are equipped with thermonucleic ephemeroticity, aka incredibly small compact? What are compact? I don't know. I'm a fool right now. Compact fusion reactors. Don't ask me why they're thermonucleic. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know even. Let us now assemble this. It's starting to kind of look like a star cruiser, but not really enough. There isn't enough swoosh. We should add more swoosh quite quickly, I feel. The more swoosh we have, this is unfortunately right here, is incredibly unswooshy. I cannot fix that. We shall leave it as it is and simply add more zoosh. An excellent way to counter out the lack of swoosh is with more zoosh. Zoosh and swoosh are not to be confused. Zoosh is a formulaic of downwards acceleration, whereas voosh is upwards, zoosh is downwards. This is completely understandable to anyone with a kinetic voice apparatus, aka to cyborgs. I'm not a cyborg, but that is beyond the point. At least I made them. Moving along, we shall continue to pattern Penrose zeros along this, because my construction scheme does not look like a horrible vomit. Not that this is a horrible vomit, I was more reclining to this item right here, which is an unfortunate embarrassment to anyone hoping to make a small faction. This is the Plongle of Vomit. Excellent. We have now purged anything of horrible existence from this area. We also need to take something from a normal faction. A normal faction would of course be things like plants, or asteroids in this case. However, sticking an asteroid to a spaceship has never necessarily been the brightest of moves. One captain once tried it, and his name is unfortunately unrecognizable due to the fact that everyone who ever even knew how to say his name died in the impact. It's unfortunately simple like that. What got frobbled around? Oh, it was those two. Excellent, we now have a slight orange lining to our very blue ship. I think the LSN would be proud, I'll have you know. I would know, as I am their commander. Well, sort of. In fact, entirely. But not really, but only slightly, as long as you don't count any contemplations that I'm currently making. Excellent. That looks lovely, and looks better than any sort of foobity-woobity I could have accomplished with any other type of block. I'm very glad I went along with Starglow. No, this isn't Starglow. What am I saying? That might be spoilers. It really isn't, though, but it could be. There, that looks really nice. I like that. That's better than any ship I think I've ever made. That's a lie. Anyway. We should probably take some advanced polarized shielding magneticators. Magneticators? Yes, magneticators. Why am I saying this? Because I'm just rolling with it. This is something you need to keenly learn about Laps. He knows how to roll with things, especially punches or cheese. I can roll with cheese if I'm a giant cheese ball, but I'm not. So technically I can't roll with cheese, but we shall leave that up for further discussion at a later time. Kindly comment below if you think that cheese is not to be rolled down any sort of hill for any reason ever. Your thoughts shall be quickly disregarded and then accumulated in a large storage bank where your ideas will be used several years down the line. You shall be acquitted and accumulated for any knowledge that you ever did not possess in accordance to that idea. AKA thank you. You will be given full credit. Also, this is exactly how the LSN do not construct a starship, because LSN starships are far more structural and robust and armed with far more cannons. Thusly, we must add more cannons, and many, many more of cannons. In fact, there must be so many cannons that the very idea of there not being cannons is more ridiculous than the actual amount of cannons upon the ship. This might be difficult for anyone not incredibly well versed in Laporien constructural technoplanetary to understand, but that is completely fine, as not even I completely understand what I'm talking about. Excellent. Does the entire universe look like it's slanted? That's because it is. Now it's fixed. Excellent. Now we can properly put cannons everywhere. Well, maybe not everywhere. Most places. Perfect. Not perfect. Now slightly more perfect, but still not perfect, as they are holes, and the LSN do not build with holes, unless it is neuronic spectroscopy, aka neutral zones. Alternatively to that, large thistle launchers can be attached relatively easily, especially if you know how to graft organic material onto sononucleic acidic constructors, which basically means nothing. I was too fast for you, game. Well, no, I wasn't, because that isn't how I wanted it. Darn it. You beat me this time, game. You beat me this time. No, you didn't. I won. This is exactly how the LSN build a starship, I'll have you know. Also, the main cannon is not strong enough. We need a pointer. We need the cannon. We need a cannon so strong it is literally known as the cannon. We also need something specifically designed for purifying Starglow forces. Or our Laporien Starglow forces. Those do not exist. Do not quote this statement, ever. If you do, Laporien Starglow forces might emerge because of the warg. Excellent. We can now continue to add more fumwafflery to make this look completely less like a mess. Because what it currently looks like to me is unfortunately a fever-induced vomit. At least in the middle. The outside looks amazing. Sort of. Sort of less amazing than not amazing, but kind of very amazing, if that makes any level of amazing sense. Amazig. Amazig 2. Excellent. You all now understand my view. I presume if you do not, kindly file a report in the next 30 seconds. Moving along. Time has been provided for a second reporting. If a second has been unduly friendly to you, or should I say not friendly enough, or should I say horrible or violent, or in any way constructive to degradation, kindly contact your local LSN officer. He'll be more than completely happy to ignore your request, as you're obviously a loon if you think that any level of second, that any some sort of self-constructed time entity has any level of interest in your daily goings-on. Excellent. This is clarificatively exactly how we build a large ship with blocks. How do you build a ship without blocks? You don't. That's the simple question of it. We now have double shielding. Perfect. One of them is not properly rendering. That's alright, I'm sure we can make it work better. Excellent. Now we can probably begin to plot the amount of anti-defense lasers, or should I say anti-anti-defense lasers we're going to have. The amount of anti-anti-anti-defense lasers we're going to have is going to be completely similar to the amount of defense lasers we have, which is to say none. So we shall unfortunately have to take manipulative forceonometric weapons, of which are completely capable of manipulating anything that isn't manipulative. Unless it is manipulative, in which case, good luck. Or, as the internet might say, GG. Which of course does not mean good luck, as much it more means good game. What game the internet is playing is unfortunately completely up to your own interpretations. My interpretation says, a large game of patty cake. Perfect. I believe that concludes this egonomic explanation of my goings-on of mentality madness. I shall now continue to make wings out of lasers, because of course I will. Why wouldn't I? I'm a madman, but I'm not mad. I'm completely sane. That's exactly what a madman would say, said the madman. But what if I'm a madman trying to be a sane man? Well then, why are you here? That's the very simple question, and that is exactly how the Calarians won the War of 1832. Thank you, class dismissed. What just exploded? I see. And I said dismissed, I did not mean explode. I suppose that can be misconstrued as certain unexpirative expirities, which basically means I don't know. Never mind. Can we have that? We can have that there. Of course we can. I'm the commander. Why can I not have it there? Why would I not be able to have it there? Completely reasonable, I'd feel. Move that over, put that there. Excellent. Now that's actually much nicer to look at, and is less of an eyesore and a soul destroy. I personally don't believe it has enough power. We shall give it Yelandarian power generators. This is less an LSN ship and more an amalgamation of all things horrible, as are these nukes. I know exactly what overpowered weapon I should attach to this ship, very, very liberally. The Langeese Targ Launcher launches huge, slow-moving missiles, extremely effective against capital ships. Unfortunately, we are not going up against a capital ship. We are going up against a capital oh no ship. Completely different, and unfortunately formed out of completely different prosthetic meritiridiums. Prosthetic meritiridiums. Posthetic is completely unreasonable. Do not attempt to assume it even exists. It might offend someone. You never know. Let's have it work like that. Seems completely reasonable, and also it apparently isn't reasonable at all, because it just ran away because it knew I existed. That's very mean of you. Very rude. I shall leave. I was going to leave Nullency, but it doesn't want to leave Nullency, so we'll just not leave Nullency. It's a fault entirely. I need to figure out a better way of making this not look weird and strange and boring. It already looks boring, which is annoying for me, especially since I'm the one that built it. Perfect. I have food under my nose, and it's worrisome because I'm not eating it. And if I'm not eating it, who is? I'll leave you at that. We shall now continue to construct this. We are also going to take a completely normal Terran thruster, which will pull us forward, because that's how this thruster works, as it is completely reasonable and not at all a cheat that I might have created, because it's awesome. This thing probably flies like a drunken, I don't know, octopus. It actually flies alright, and has beautiful lasers. Kapow! That might split planets. It probably will, all things considered. Let's just export it as the planet splitter. Perfect. This will buy us many more minutes of happiness. Because if the game crashes, I will not be angry. And definitely not lose hours and hours and hours of recording data. We might also want something like this. It's fun. You can quote me on that. I'm sweating, purely because I realize how long it's taken me to get this far. And also because I realize how much longer it's going to take me to actually get anywhere with this thing. So I'll have to hurry up. But no one wants to hurry up laps. That's not a thing anyone has ever wanted to do. But that's actually a lie. That's something people always do to me, all the time. I mean, it's not unreasonable, but is it reasonable to be unreasonable? Now you're thinking with anti-logic portals, which do not help anyone, and if anything, just destroy your mind. Please stop it. Excellent. We now have a portcullis. How is that a portcullis? Don't ask me. It's simply a portcullis. Portcullises do not need to be questioned, unless you're a portcullis questioner. But those don't exist, so let's not go there. I understand this is an incredibly strange rant, but there is very little else to say during this time. Okay, I'll disable... Okay, I'm going to turn off crazy mode for 5 seconds. And we're going to just talk about this crazy ship. So basically, I decided not to use anything normal, because that thing is not normal. It's got too many nukes on it, and too many lasers, and too many missiles. So it'll be far too much fun to just not... No, it'll be too much... It won't be fun to just take some normal, old, fruffy little ship that's made out of standard faction. I love the standard factions. They're brilliant, of course. But I feel like I can just try and do something silly. I mean, look, after all, I am using the crystalline, so, I mean, you can't really... pardon me, you can't really shoot me down. Alright, let's put some of this here. I really like the orange layering effect of this. Layering effect? That's not what I want to say. The kind of the coloring effect, you know? It's quite pleasant. Why not? Why not is all I can really say. Actually, let's leave that one there. It's going to be an originin. And we'll leave that. Nice. Well, it's not alternate. Actually, it is nice. It kind of creates a sort of continuum. It's kind of pleasant. Delete all that. Copy all that. Mirror it around, and everything's fixed. Lovely, look at that. Now it looks proper. It looked off because it was actually off, literally. Anyway, okay, next thing's next. We want, obviously, some Laporien thrusters. Because they are the best thruster. Best thruster, all world around. I'm taking some ear glands, obviously, some ear gland vacuum thrusters. For obvious reasons. This thing is not that expensive, surprisingly. Well, it's 13,000. I mean, that's more than any other ship, but still, I mean... I'll tell you what, we don't have any Ricochetium craft, so let me quickly go grab the Ricochetium. 34? No, is it 33? I can't remember what the Ricochetium was. It's 43. 40. It's just straight up 40. No, that's the Renegade Imperium of Dread. I've actually lost the... That's the POG. There we go, 36. The Plants of Gemini don't have anything nice on them, so I'm just going to use this. Liberally. Far more than was ever intended. You'll remember, I'm Laps and I do things for fun. Also, I could take something from the Renegade Imperium of Dread. Melee laser, red structure core. Spitzer 2 drone launchers. That probably would be fun, is all I'm saying. He said any P limit, so... I mean, you know, any PowerPoint amountage, so... Oh, those are very, very pink. I'm going to throw those away quickly. They're too pink for my blue ship. It'll throw the color practice out of balance. Even this green is throwing the color practice out of balance slightly. This blue is kind of fine because it kind of evens out. This yellow is a bit horrible, but thankfully it does go back to orange after a while. I could just use some POG. That could be fun. Why not just use POG? POG are fun. POG are my little fun. My experimental block isn't here because it's not working. That's alright. We are, however, going to take more Ricochettium stuff because the Ricochettium are awesome. Yeah, something stolen from the Laporians because, of course, the Ricochettium don't have enough awesome technology of their own. Pardon me. I want, not that. Definitely not that. That's ludicrous. Where is the slapper? It's here. Excellent. I want the slapper because the slapper, to put it very simply, is your sort of all-around PD piece of equipment for the Ricochettium. They're kind of your close-range PD sort of thing. You don't usually use them as PD, but they're optimum for PD. Well, out of all the missile systems I've ever devised for the Ricochettium, yes. Perfect. Put that there, and we'll save it. Excellent. This thing's probably going to need a lot more thrusters. Now, I did nerf the Elgeland vacuum thruster a long time ago, so unfortunately it's not as powerful as it once was. But it's still pretty powerful. When I say pretty powerful, I mean incredibly powerful. In fact, it's actually slightly overpowered. But it's the Laporians. We can forgive that. The Laporians were meant to be overpowered. Well, not really. They were sort of just meant to be really powerful, but in a sort of fun, nibble on you sort of way. Whatever that means. I kind of want this to work better. I need scaffolding. Where's my scaffolding? There it is. Useful only for filling in holes. An absurdly small chunk of hull that would never pass an Orion-class battleship. And this is actually an Orion-class battleship. Look how huge. Look how huge it is. It's massive. It is indeed a battleship. Not one of those little foofy ships made out of tiny blocks. Anyway. Alright, that should be fine. Not really, but sort of. Now, all these generators basically mean that the back of this ship will explode like Sunday if it gets hit. But I mean, that should be fun. Alright, I don't know what I should do now. I'm literally running out of weapon systems to give to this thing without... I don't want to make it huge and silly. I kind of want to make it look cool, quite cool. All it really needs now is some big thrusters, I guess. Asteroid thrusters are cool, but they weigh far too much to be worth it sometimes. Though asteroid thrusters are far more optimal for big craft, but that is kind of beyond the point. They're literally designed to move asteroids, so I'm pretty sure. Okay, what this now needs is some turning, and I'm going to add that quite liberally. Liberally. More of a conservative myself. Let's put it here as I can't factor it in nicely. Well, I could. I'm lapsed. Of course I can factor it in nicely. If only that were more true. Okay, this is the Mark 1. And it looks ridiculous, but I love it. It is mine. and it's amazing. Meet the pure power of Laporien battle chivalry. Oh, hello, music. You're back. Point defense. 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 Dun 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 dun. Give me a second. Alright, I'm fully intending for this thing to get annihilated, but the idea is more to see what else it needs. Should be fine. Excellent. I fully intend for some nukes to connect, but I'll be highly impressed if these slappers can stave them off. Highly impressed. I am their maker after all, so of course I'd be highly impressed. Yes. Okay, good. Good science. Yes, you'll note I did level_save. Unfortunately, I forgot to how for a few seconds. Yeah, I did. Okay. This is the current functionative version L. I'll tell you what we need. More slappers. Many, many, many more slappers. So many, in fact, we might just need to blot out the sun for a few seconds. Don't ask me how many that would take. It's slightly ludicrous. Going to unfortunately abandon those in favor of something a little more nuke resistant. Well, sort of. Nuke nullificative, I should say. Select properly. In the words of my president, properly. That's not dissing the president at all. Well, it's creating a joke based upon the president, because the president is highly entertaining. Anyway, beyond that, what I'm saying, Saps, is please don't come to my house. Not that you would. Anyway, let's just put some everywhere. Why not? Right? I mean, that's completely reasonable. They have some everywhere. I might try and build a normal ship to counter this, but it's going to end up being Sentinel, because that's the only way I can... Well, I don't want to just go shooty shooty boom boom, because we all know what craft that would do. Give me a second. I found it. The twin alphas of Orion. Honestly, Jonis, let's just do this instead. This could be much funner. Why don't I just export twin alphas of Orion? Give me a second. Well, actually, no, wait, I want to save this as well. Alright. Level_save, in case you wanted to know, and that saves it. Right, I'll be back. Alright, they're here. Let's just see how it goes. Okay, well first of all my two creations will battle it out, and I know exactly who's going to win. Because nothing can stop that death beam. Excellent, I'm glad that was so easy to figure out. By the way, this is completely vanilla, sort of. I mean, there's no mods in it. Should have probably just versed this against it. From the very get-go, might have saved me a few hours. Well, half an hour at least. Not necessarily that. Well, I plan it, so I don't know. Oh. Ah. Mince and noodles. Lovely. Okay. How are the twin Alpha Orions doing? Ah, good. Much damage. Boom, boom, boom. How many nukes do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Now I might be overcounting it, but that's beyond the point. You can see there's now a massive amount of slowdown, but we know who's going to win this. Ooh! Just skirting the bullets. Pow. Pow. Beautiful. Ooh. I don't even know what's going on here. Why is it making a yellow poopy? Pooping, a booping, a blooping, a flipping, whatever. All we know is that the twin alphas of all we know is the twin alphas of Orion will win. Let's just let points aside this. For a little while. We know that this thing is practically undefeatable, relatively. It's only Faction 4 and Sentinel, and Crystalline actually might be really good against it. Apologies, I am hungry. Actually, I have an idea. Give me a second. From the halls of the Galaxy Hub Defenders, I bring you the Rebellion Galvanizer. It's quite a strong ship, sort of. It might be very interesting to see how it fares, now that it's pure missileic bombardier. If it actually still works, it might actually not work anymore. Yeah, I think some of its PD is turned off. Yeah, it works with missile PD, but you can tell the amount of missiles the enemy has is vastly too much. Okay, let's try many of them. Which was it again? I've exceeded a little bit. Lovely! Alright, I'll let this play out. Once again, apologies. Oh, beautiful. It's like one giant swarm of clones, just all exactly, just missiles out. Beautiful. Kind of goes, yeah, they go out to the side a little, then they fly forward. It's just beautiful to watch, really. I kind of feel sad. For you. Or should I say I feel sad for them? I don't know who's gonna... Well... We'll see. Have to give it a while, though. I only have it on 60 frames per second anyway. Alright. Well, I think the outcome is quite clear, if this is the amount of missiles inbound. Okay, let's go to the edge of them. Don't crash on me, thank you. I know it's a hassle to load this many missiles, but... Follow my logic. Here's one little missile. I'll zoom out slightly so you can have some relative speed here. Understand the quantity of missiles we're dealing with here. If this gives you vertigo or something, I'm sorry. Or motion sickness. Vertigo? What the... Motion sickness is what I meant. Oh, we're finally here. Whew, it took a while. I swear, if friendly fire were on, that would be so funny. It's not on right now, but you know what I mean. The issue is that most of the missiles are kind of dying out before they get close. Well, not most of them. Well, actually, yes. Sort of 50% of them-ish. Nice. That's actually doing quite well, surprisingly. Surprisingly. No, no connection, but there's bound to be a connection here, surely. There's no way it could dodge all of this. Nope, didn't think so. Those nukes are incredible defenses, though. Though, after a bit of space has been maybe gained after the destruction of this unit, I can imagine one of these nukes getting there, because one by one they will purge everything in their path. But it's interesting. This is more of a lag machine than most else. Wow, this is... this can run relatively smoothly, but there's just too many missiles, Jonas. Too many missiles! I appreciate a challenge, but please, keep it at something our computers can handle. Well, sort of. It managed to find us now. Anyway. It was more so the twin alphas of Orion than anything else. You can see this is going to get hit. Purely because... Yeah. I foresaw... Whoa. Could you not, please? Alright. So, slowly the Scarab is winning, kind of. The issue is that the nukes just purge everything in their path. Because if there are 3 nukes, you can imagine that it could get... One nuke might explode here, but then it'll clear itself a path until for the next nuke to get about here. It'll purge a path. Then the next one might actually get there. Maybe. Maybe not in this cluster, but definitely in this cluster. I mean, sheesh. There's basically no hope at this point. Well, sort of. The funny thing is that... Oh, these... Oh, that's lovely. These antimatter missiles do actually take some hits. Ah, who are they trying to retarget on? The middle one here, yeah? This one or that one? I honestly can't tell. Who would seem closer? This one, obviously, then. Fair enough. Oh gosh, it's just a swarm of protective missiles. That's beautiful. Oh, you have them on point defense, don't you? That's wonderful. I love that. Alright, I'm gonna leave this here, because that is so cool. I love that. Look at that halo of just missile. It's beautiful. So the little missiles are just defensive, and the big nukes are just there to... That's so funny. I like that. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to stop that before it gets silly. It's about fine. Let's go. Shall we? Now, don't worry, Jonas, I know it was supposed to only be one ship, but still. Say hello to Ricochettium destructive power. You see, at least I'm modest with my nuclear weapons, you know? Ricochettium nuclear weapons are incredibly powerful, but their blast radius is quite small to allow players to have some fun, is the idea. Go slappers, go slappers! Ka-ta-ta! Lovely. This is actually quite beautiful. Ooh, I should have zoomed out. You can see this is much faster now. But yes, you can see the Ricochettium nukes are getting close slowly. The issue is that all this point defense is still here. So what we're really waiting for is a cannon to fire off. Now the main cannon, or the cannon, has both a bullet and a laser. So if it gets close enough, it can tear through everything, sort of. But the idea is that the laser sort of is there as well. Or more correctly, that the laser is kind of the aftermath of shooting the bullet. That's not the idea of the cannon, but it's how I utilized it in this scenario. Ooh, some nukes are getting close. Oh, yeah, we're going to see one of these ships go down, maybe. No? Ooh. Well, either are we seeing any damage? I can't tell. I thoroughly can't tell. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, yeah. There is a reason Jonis said no modded things, because he knows how overpowered the Ricochettium can be. Well, how everything can be. He knows how overpowered most mods could be. But the simple fact is there is no beating this with vanilla faction. Honestly, even faction 4 might have difficulty with that. In fact, okay, this is sort of a foregone conclusion. Look at the damage dealt to that, but... And what I mean by foregone conclusion is that with the amount of things coming in, the amount of slappers, the amount of Ricochettium... I can't even... Ultima... Yeah, they were called Ultimas. The amount of Ultimas there, it's going to be Armageddon, basically. Because once the second barrage is ready, and what's amazing is that they're all kind of rebuilding at the same pace, which is hilarious. So in a few seconds, there's going to be many Ultimas. Okay, they take actually a very long time to rebuild this. I calibrated them like that, just so that the player had some fun with them, but that when the AI was wielding them, they aren't too powerful. Because I know how unfun nukes can be, just due to their massive blast radius, as you can tell. It's a little bit ridiculous. Huge blast radius and ridiculous damage. I personally would tune down that blast radius a little bit, but then again, the missile is massive. So, and I mean, nukes are in the end massive. So, I mean, in terms of relative realism, I suppose it is quite correct, but that's beyond the point. Yeah. There's a Merdian nullificator, so not necessarily the strongest when it comes to going through missiles. Ooh. Nice. Okay, I'll be satiated for a while. Should probably take a drink. Lovely. Alright. So that's one ship down. And they're ready to fire. Say hello to Armageddon. The only issue is that these are... Well, actually, it's quite nice. Huh. Without even intending to, it's actually quite an effective barrage pattern here, because there are the initial few that will kind of catch nukes and be destroyed by nukes and therefore get exploded, which would kill any other nukes. But then there's also sort of this massive behind force. Yeah, you see that the nuke kind of took them all out at once. Nukes are very powerful. Nukes are very powerful, which is a bit annoying for me. See if this nuke... Yeah. Ooh, okay. It thankfully has had enough HP, but... There are a few barrages of these, but these are really my only hope right now. If these manage to get in close enough, it'll be... Goodbye, dear lady. Or fair lady, I suppose. Would be. There we go, nice. Okay, a few hit. Next up. Secondary Altaria bombardment inbound. Don't know why I'm doing sort of Indian. I like it. I like it. Okay, these ones might... I don't think they'll get there. I don't think they'll get there. Yes! Clean connection. Now, I should have probably designed one ship, but I mean... One ship was just massive and had a lot of these things, but I mean, that would just be unfortunate. The only real way to beat this is with more nuke spam. Like I said before, pardon me. Ooh. I see it's a half moon tonight. But yes, I think we lost one ship. I don't know. Oh, we've lost two. Okay. Yeah, I thought that would be more reasonable. But we have taken about a... The thing about this giant chunk of nukes it will get past most all splatter defense. Slapper defense. Will it? I don't know about it. I presume it will, because the issue is that they keep clearing a path for each other, so they slowly, progressively get closer and closer. Though eventually they do get shut down like that, which is a relief. Yes, okay. Good. Okay, good. Excellent. The nukes seem to be slowing down slightly. If just one of the cannon can get close enough, by the way, that Uber Mega Hive will be... Oh, come on! Yeah, the issue is that they have... No, those aren't... No, those are Emerdian nullificators. Yeah, they are. They're Emerdian nullificators. Huh. I actually don't... There actually might not be enough power to fire the cannon. By the way, the cannon has a ridiculous charge time. It's actually amazing. It's still charging. I think it actually just doesn't have enough power to fire. Or more correctly, it's all charging, it just isn't close enough. Because it's actually got a relatively short range of fire. Oh, I didn't even notice the second round of Altarias, but yes. Good morning. For your flagship! Oh. Okay, well some are gonna hit. Some are... Come on, summons, come on, yes! There we go. Fair enough. Okay, so we know how that would go a second time. So there you go, Jonis, there's the ship that could... well, the fleet of crazy, OP, unfair ships that could unfortunately beat that ship. That's a very tough ship. That Darn Scarab Uber Mega Hive has always been very annoying. Because it's nukes, and nukes are unfair. So until next time, everybody... Cheerio.